This is our last course spotlight of the year. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing that how time flies. So we'll always have some new course spotlights coming in the new year, but what a way to end the year. I am so excited to introduce Gemma and Sascha. Gemma has had courses on for quite a while, but I really got to know her in this last few months when we had her as a featured speaker on our Great Discovery Summit back in November. And so it's been a real treat to get to know her, and her content is phenomenal. So let me tell you a little bit about her background, and then we'll get going here. So Gemma Serenity Gorokhoff, she's an award-winning entrepreneur, author, and community leader whose work empowers people to transform their lives through emotional intelligence, manifestation, and holistic success. And she holds multiple academic degrees and brings a rare blend of deep lived experience and advanced studies to her mission. And as she said, after successfully overcoming 15 years of domestic violence, she rebuilt her life and became a powerful voice for healing, growth, and possibility. So I'm going to let her talk about her course, her and Sascha. The course is Emotional Intelligence to Love Again. And please go ahead and tell us all about this, Gemma and Sascha. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kathy. And thank you all the group for giving us this platform. So let me actually share my screen so that you can see the slides, because I have prepared a few slides. Just sent a request.
So Sandra, I think you need to make them a co-host so that they can do that.
That would work.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Sorry about that. I was supposed to ask you that. Sorry.
Almost.
Now. There, you should be able to now.
Okay, yes, indeed. Now I can
No,
do
it's
that.
it's her note taker that got the co-host.
Hold on, what happened?
But however, I can share now, so it's all good.
Oh, can you? Okay, well,
no.
maybe that works. Okay.
All right, and I am just launching it right now. And back to Zoom. Share. We're here now. Thank you. Found it. And now from here, I can actually go to slideshow and start from beginning. Wow, perfect. So if you are here, it is not because you lack intelligence, awareness, or depth. It is because at some point, love stopped making sense. You may have done the healing work. You may understand your pattern, and yet something still repeats. This presentation is not about blame, fixing, or reliving the past. It is about understanding what has truly been driving your emotional choices beneath awareness. Because when love feels intense, confusing, or draining, it is rarely a character flaw. It is often an emotional system doing exactly what it learned to do to survive. Today, you will not be asked to change who you are. You will be invited to understand yourself at a deeper level than before. And when that understanding becomes embodied, not intellectual, everything begins to shift. This is a space for emotionally intelligent people who are ready to stop repeating the same pain and start choosing differently. Let us begin. Why intelligent, loving people still choose the wrong partner? That's a real question. The emotional intelligence gap that keeps you repeating the same relationship over and over again. Why healing alone is not enough to attract healthy love. First of all, let us just mention Daniel Goleman introduced emotional intelligence to the world in 1995. This course, Emotional Intelligence to Love Again, applies EQ where it was never fully taught: love, trauma, and attachments.
And Daniel Goleman was one of my professors in business school as well.
Indeed, thank you. and we met him personally.
Yes.
So what is emotional intelligence? Here are the 5 pillars of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotion. Self-regulation, the capacity to manage and respond to emotions constructively. Motivation, the intrinsic drive to achieve goals and personal growth. Empathy, the skill of understanding and considering others' people, emotions, and perspective. And the 5th one, social skills, the proficiency in communicating, building relationships, and resolving conflict.
So what is emotional intelligence not?
Exactly.
It is high empathy without boundaries. It is not. It is not awareness without regulation, and it's not insight without action.
You can heal your past and still repeat it. If emotional intelligence is missing, I can tell you that is what was missing for me, why I actually relapsed in my past. So
And it was important for you to become self-aware and develop that emotional intelligence for you to become aware of what happened, why it has happened, and how not to repeat it. And this is also what that course is based on.
Exactly. So applying the 5 domains of emotional intelligence is a dating and healing journey because it's like intimately connected. This is why we talk about that today. Self-awareness, why you miss red flags.
So it is about noticing emotional patterns, as I mentioned earlier, and the triggers to avoid the reactivity, recognizing one's feelings and underlying needs in dating situations. But these things don't come intuitively to everybody, but they can be learned. Science has proved that they can be learned, but it's not necessarily something that we have been brought up with, that our parents taught us about. So we keep on going into this world and keep on making mistakes that are very costly to our own lives and our own feelings.
Indeed. Self-regulation, why you stay when you should leave? I should answer that question. I said 15 years.
You should,
Right.
you should answer that question.
Basically, pausing before reacting impulsively to dating scenarios. Because why do you stay? Because it is an automatic answer. You do not think about it. When you think I should leave. When you act like you stay. Motivation, why you chase unavailable people.
That's rooted in dating decisions that are based in self-worth. It's growth and alignment rather than wounds. Focusing on finding a fulfilling, emotional, safe partnership is not the main goal. And that's why you stay, why that is an issue and is addressed in the course.
Empathy, why you overgive and under-receive. Validating one's own emotions without abandoning your own needs. Extending compassion to potential partners without over-personalizing.
And lastly, social skills, why communication breaks down under stress. Very important, and we see this in all kinds of fields, from dating to leadership, that I've experienced in my long career as well. And it's about expressing needs and boundaries clearly in dating interactions, identifying red flags early and communicating them with grace. We're often taught to not communicate. We're often taught to swallow those. And in the course, you will learn practical steps on how to overcome those barriers and boundaries.
Indeed. So how emotional intelligence rebuilds trust in yourself and others? Rebuilding inner safety after self-abandonment.
Restoring self-trust after ignoring intuition.
Relearning relational trust after normalizing emotional discomfort.
All of this you will also learn in the course on how to do this. The course, of course, goes in depth, more time than we have here to cover it, of course.
Now, emotional intelligence in dating. How to attract emotionally mature love? Real question. first of all.
It's about being present and honest. Emotionally intelligent dating involves being fully present, authentic, and self-honoring in the dating process. Of course, this starts with knowing who we are, not based on our learned behaviors, not on who we thought we had to be as children to be good with our parents or the people who raised us, not how we've learned to be in school to get good grades, but about who you really are and being honoring this self, your own self, in the dating process, and communicating this to the other person.
I can tell you one thing about being present and honest. When Sascha and I met, the first conversation was extremely clear. Here is who I am. Here is who you are. Okay. And we did not go further, but we knew from the very beginning, honoring yourself, who is each one of us.
And can we even consider starting something, or are we too different on key points that will ultimately lead to failure?
Totally. Discerning compatibility, which is exactly what you just said, rather than reacting solely to chemistry, it's that instant chemistry. That doesn't mean it's a lifetime partner. It just means there is an instant chemistry. That happens. Emotionally intelligent daters choose partners based on emotional availability, alignment of values, because these are long-term elements that will actually forge the life.
And that's
together.
where emotional intelligence comes in again, because for that, you have to first know what your values are, know yourself, but also be able to help the other person, if they don't know it, understand compatibility, because these things you're not going to want to figure out later. You want to figure them out in the beginning, so that you already know whether this has a chance.
Exactly. And I can tell you one thing. I go live on TikTok every single day at Gemma Serenity. I'm the manifesting queen on TikTok. And regularly I have people just coming in and telling me, oh, you're beautiful. Can we get married? It's like, wow, no. No. I mean, did you ask anything? Do you know what I see from my side? I just see a little picture and a username. How may I know? I cannot know.
But I agree with their assessment. You're beautiful.
All right, next one. Magnetizing emotional maturity. As one develops emotional intelligence, they become more emotionally magnetic, attracting partners who are also emotionally mature and available.
And you can learn to become emotionally mature at any age. That's not a question of age, really. It's a question of understanding yourself, but also applying very specific principles that any age can learn in order to achieve that.
And navigating boundaries. Emotionally intelligent daters honor their personal boundaries and communicate their needs clearly, fostering a safe and secure dating experience. Can you give us an example of a healthy boundary?
Healthy boundary is communicating with your partner or the person you're dating at that time, or even throughout relationship, before the person crosses something that is very important to you. Then communicate this in the calm, respectful, loving manner, on why this boundary is important to you, and what it means to you that it is enforced, especially where it's coming from as well. But that allows your partner to also to understand that's not just something you made up, but that why it's important and what it brings to you and why it matters in the relationship. And it goes both ways, obviously.
Absolutely.
And in fact, every couple of months or sometimes weeks, we have a conversation that it's not about love, but it's about where are you, where am I, where are we going, what are our values, how we change, because you can't assume that you stay the same throughout life. You can't assume that you stay the same over a couple of months. Something may have changed and you may not be aware of that. So it's important to have those conversations about, again, being present and honest with one another, discerning our compatibility, magnetizing emotional maturity, and having those conversations that's emotionally mature, and then navigating the boundaries that we may have known or things that may have changed. And how does that navigate for the future of our relationship?
Exactly. Absolutely. So you are not here because you lack intelligence, insight, or self-awareness. You are here because emotional patterns do not change through understanding alone. If love has felt confusing, draining, or unsafe, it is not because you chose wrong. It is because your nervous system learned to associate connection with survival. This course is not about fixing you. It is about teaching your body, your emotions, and your choices a new language. A language where boundaries feel natural, where calm feels attractive, where love no longer requires self-sacrifice. For less than the cost of one painful mistake, you gain tools that will shape every relationship for the rest of your life. This is not for everyone. It is for emotionally intelligent people who are tired of being hurt and ready to live differently. If that is you, the next step is simple.
And who better to learn it from somebody who has done it, who went from catastrophic, very painful relationships to something that is healthy and mature and good, as you say yourself.
Exactly. So I really encourage you, choose yourself so you never have to recover from the same pain.
And choose to learn from Gemma as well.
Thank you. Do you have any
Thanks, Gemma and
questions?
Sascha. Yeah, are there questions from the group? And I did put the link, and yes, you have a discount, a 25% discount running right now, so it's a great deal. Wonderful material, so important. So important, emotional intelligence. Not something we talk about, as you mentioned, so much that we don't teach it in school and we don't talk about it with our children, with our, partners, with our friends, and yet it's so important.
Indeed.
And you only get it from, and also you just get it from your parents. And if your parents don't understand it or your entourage doesn't understand it, you just tend to repeat what you've been taught without ever questioning it in the first place. And so you keep on making the same mistakes over generations and without understanding why this keeps on happening.
Mhm.
And this course actually debunks that.
Yeah,
So
no,
true.
I think it's awesome. I just wanted to make a comment, guys. This is so important, the work that you do. You're giving people permission to actually talk about this, which people think they have to keep it inside because I'll be weak. People will look down at me like there's something wrong with me. And it is so important for people to know it's okay. So thank you for this. And I know it came from, the heart because you lived it, and it's difficult, and appreciate you being able to talk about it and being able to help people. Gemma, I think you're amazing, so just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you so much. And I would have never achieved that level of mastery without the unwavering support and teaching of Sascha. Showing me by acting, by example, how it is to love. How does it feel to feel love? I remember 18 months into our established relationship, I was still like amazed, like he did not go in anger against me. How is that even possible? I was so used to that toxic links. And it's amazing. He is my third last and dream husband. That's how I call him.
Well, I'm happy you guys found each other, and I just want to say I'm very blessed with my husband also. It is, most relationships you have some sort of animosity, some sort of, spatting and fighting or whatever it is. Almost every relationship has that, and we don't have that in our relationship, and it's amazing. It's like I keep thinking, okay, I'm gonna really piss him off one day. He's gonna get mad at me, but he's so mellow, and what that's done for me is it's mellowed me. I truly believe it's the combination of the two people, but you guys are great, so thank you for coming on.
We have two questions, Beverly and then Brian. Beverly.
It's not a question. Just listening to how you presented this, and I've dealt with domestic violence with different people on events and stuff like that. And it seems they're always talking about the destruction, and the harm. It's like how you presented, the two of you have presented it together and you just weaved it. I mean, I just get chills just thinking about it. It's not like a dirty thing or a hurt thing. It's like wow, this is so empowering, just how you spoke it, that, hey, you're a human being and we're all human and we should be really working together in that love aspect, and just elevating all of that together, and I think the Great Discovery is a beautiful platform to bring that together, because it is like a family, and the respect that happens in here and the support that has been happening for this full year that I've been really involved in this, hardcore. It just keeps getting better and better, and that is a part of what the world is all about, and the whole spiritual uplifting of everything that's happening right now, that your role is going to get even greater for what you do and how you present it, to make that person who has been through it human again and real. And that's what Sasha has done with you. And to be able to bring that together and get it out there in the manner you're doing is just, there's no words for it. So
Thank you
you
so
keep
much.
going.
That was the first thing I did when she came into my life. I said, it's not going to happen to me, with me, but if you are not changing certain patterns, it will happen again, whether it's a friend, a colleague, or something else that you have to learn in order to change this. And now she's the one teaching about it, and the voice in the world.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Beverly. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it a lot. Beautiful.
Brian.
And thank you, Renee, for your message.
Yes.
Brian, your turn.
I think that you can start from this content and go on to create a personal development course for teens so they can avoid getting into the issues by you teaching them all this stuff that you learned the hard way, help them to get it early on to avoid getting the trauma situations, and your own experience can help them understand why maybe their parents have had issues and stuff like that, without attacking the parents, kind of thing, that illustrated through your experiences, but they can then apply it in their own family if that's a relevant, so they don't go on making the same mistakes.
Thank you,
Wow,
Brian.
thank you, Brian.
Thank
Yes,
you for that feedback.
absolutely. I noticed a few in the chat as well.
There's lots of wonderful comments in the chat. I'm not sure there's questions, but just wonderful feedback.
Thank you.
Great presentation, Debbie. Hey, thank you. So important to get this to a global audience. Bless you guys. It's so important that so many live in shame, so many live in shame, and so many lose their lives. Yes, so related, so important as I relate with my king here too. It's beautiful that you call him as your king.
And this is really also something that's so important that Sandra touched on, to the ability to allow one to speak about it. When she came to me, I mean, I kind of knew it because I met the second ex once, so I knew it. But for me, it was like, okay, it is what it is. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It happened. Let's make sure it doesn't happen again in your life, in any of your relationships. There's really no judgment. I want you to be able to be freely, to talk about it freely, and knowing that there is no judgment. I mean, of course, I'm sorry and I'm sad for you that this happened, but I'm not, it is what it is. Let's go forward and change that. And now you're changing it on a global level, to a global audience.
Because when I received that gift of healing and transformation, the last thing I can do is to keep it for myself. I have to give it forward. And what better than the Great Discovery to really touch the entire world on a global audience, translating in any language, any time. For me, when I discovered the Great Discovery, it's like the Great Discovery of the year. It really is.
And I'm not always here because I'm the introvert of the family, but as I'm here today, I also want to thank Sandra and Tim for having created this beautiful platform, and giving, and Kathy, to giving a voice to creators and to people like Gemma to reach a global audience. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's what it's
Gemma,
all about.
Sascha, I have a quick question for you. Tim here.
Yes.
Gemma, you went through sounds like a really difficult time, and I know most of the audience here have probably gone through something very similar. It's welcome to Earth, right? It's a interesting place we live in, and full of humans and all their drama and trauma and everything else. how long did it take you, and what was the catalyst that brought you to start seeing that there was something wrong, that you needed to find a breakthrough? And what was the breakthrough for you?
That's a question that comes back from time to time, and it is a key question. There is two parts. First of all, there is what made me open my eyes and put words on what I was living through again. I mean, that was the hardest part. That was the very first step. Okay, I heard someone's story who had it way worse than domestic violence. That person became a non-voluntary criminal of a teenager. So that was a catalyst. When I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, and you got over that. That gave me permission to get over domestic violence in my mind first. Then another year passed of inner work and imagining how it could be different. And then I met Sascha. And that actually shook my world because of the connection. We were not in love yet, but that connection, gosh, something very special. Feelings that we know each other for lifetimes. And then a decisive moment, it's life or death. I am gone now.
And you called me, actually.
And I called you indeed.
On the phone.
Yeah. And we talked for 2 hours with the same question. I cannot leave because of this, and that, and that. And you answered, you have to leave first and then manage everything that stays behind. You have to leave first. Nobody can help you when you stay in there. Okay. After 2 hours, okay. And then I did not go back home. But that catalyst was a succession of events that actually started to make me see the light on the other side of the tunnel.
What you also said is that what I told you is, as I was very well connected at the time in Switzerland, the helping hand, knowing that you wouldn't be alone figuring things out.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't in love. I was just offering you a helping hand.
Yeah. I honestly, when I left, I just came back to that divine voice that talked to me out of this into life. And I asked, okay, and now what? And the answer was Sascha. Okay, fine, but I just know him back for 2 weeks, please. Okay, maybe, just that, maybe. And I just walked to knock at his door. And he opened, and he understood. And he actually guided me and connected me to the right people to put the right frame around me until I get through that first totally traumatic part.
Because there were really two reasons, and Sandra touched on one, not allowing oneself to speak about it because of the fear of judgment. But then also, after you spoke about it, then what? And having just one person who can help you at least cross a bridge and start somewhere and give you like an end of a rope and say, hold on to this and just follow the path and see what unfolds, and catches you when you say, as you said multiple times, I will go back. No, you won't. No, you won't. We're going to talk about this. This is not going to work better because you go back. Why do you want to go back? So it's helping that person to stand on their own feet and show them that life is possible.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that part of going back to the abuser, going back to the familiar, going back to the promise, because for 10 years I promised, or for 15 years I promised, and I go back because I promised. Hey, did you think about your life and what you're going through? Yeah, no, I don't care. I promised.
And for me, it was very important that you, even long before we fall in love, but we were just friends in the beginning, that you walk by yourself. And I remember when I told you, it said, you're not a koala and I'm not a eucalyptus tree. You're not going to hold on to me. I'm going to help you until you can walk onto your own feet, but then you walk.
Exact. And I did. And you still helped me the way, but I did walk. And now I'm working to helping others. And I'm happy to actually have you with me to present. So
what an amazing story. Wow.
The introvert shows up from time to time.
Oh, it's so powerful and so beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for sharing, the course, but yourselves with us too. So it's so important. And
does that answer your question, Tim? Or did we go off track?
No, I did a lot. I just have one tiny follow-up question. Did you have any particular curriculum that you sought out in between before you met Sascha, or was Sascha kind of your breakthrough point?
No, Sascha arrived at my breaking point. I dreamed of love. I imagined what love would feel like while I was living my second relationship.
If you allow me 2 minutes, Tim, of time here, I can give you a little bit of my backstory of telling you why I was able to help.
Yeah, that would be
I
interesting.
was born with a set of conditions that should have left me in a wheelchair, mentally challenged, dead by the age of 7. I'm 47. I've done everything that the medical community told me cannot happen and be happening. I'm also the son of a CFO father for whom I was never good enough, who passed away when I was 16. But more importantly, of a mentally very, very deranged mother with borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, who was jealous of her disabled, differently able child, as I call it today, me, succeeding everywhere where she couldn't. And I couldn't leave at the time because in Europe, no other health insurance would have taken me. So I'm an American mom and French dad. And her threat was always, if you leave or say something about what's going on in the home, I will cancel your health insurance or I will kill myself. She ended up doing the latter much later when I was 34, but I was able to actually make sense of the mess, understand the pattern, understand her, even kind of diagnose her, because I went to her doctor after I read hundreds and hundreds of books on these kind of issues and said she has that, and the doctor agreed with me. So when she came into my life when we were both 34, I had already succeeded everywhere the medical community, teachers, society thought was impossible for me. And I made sense of it. So I was able to actually explain to her the pattern, explain what's going on and what needs to change. As the coach in the beginning, falling in love wasn't the plan. That happened many months later. But that's a little bit of the backstory. And to be clear, I was born with the worst form of spina bifida. I have an untranslated hydrocephalus and an Arnold-Chiari 2 syndrome. I am 1 out of 200 million. Everybody else who has what I have is on paper is dead, was in a wheelchair, or is mentally severely challenged. And if they're still around, they're not in a good state. Compared to me, I'm walking. I have been to the best schools on the planet. I've done everything they told me they cannot be done. And now that's what I teach. So my expertise is more leadership and business and psychology and human development, but that's where we join each other. And that's why it was easy for me to actually help her with this. I said, look, I grew up with the mess. I made sense of the mess and I was able to thrive through it. So now I can teach you everything I know.
Exactly. Voila. That's a short.
Thank you, Sascha. Thank you, Gemma. And I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Great job.
Thank you.
Looking forward to sharing your courses.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. On behalf of everyone, I just want to say so powerful, and we're so thankful you're here. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We will have another course spotlight in a week, not this coming Wednesday. It's New Year's Eve, so go celebrate the new year, and we'll see you. I guess we'll see you tomorrow for course creators, but next week for a course spotlight. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great night.